Hi, and just excuse my voice because I've been choked with a cold. Let's talk about this corrupt SNP and about the corrupt Lord Advocate and our dual roles, conflict of interest that's been operating for years, and what's been recently in the mainstream media about Murrell, the ex-husband of that Nicola Sturgeon, and exactly what will happen and what's in the bag and premeditated and already been decided. So you'll know that John Swinney was briefed about the charges. He's now up in court, well, apparently meant to be, for $500,000 embezzlement charges, fraud. Well, apparently I was told in a legal case there's no fraud in Scotland. Anyway, Murrell has been directed to the High Court, and basically the corruption continues with the SNP and the Lord Advocate, and it's been going on for years and years. This is the latest debate on it. People who have a vast interest in this have been campaigning for years, and just go back to a year ago on the 4th of June, we sent a constitutional briefing memorandum to Keir Starmer, Angela Constance, on the back of John Cooper, and Joanne Cherry was served it, and Kenny McCaskill, they all signed for it. And our team undertook a vast amount of research about what was operating. And I'll just read you this wee bit here, and I'll send you the link. It's a 10-pager. Dear Prime Minister, we write to you as a collective of constitutional parties, civic participants and lawful stakeholders within the jurisdiction of Scotland to submit this urgent representation for constitutional intervention regarding the unlawful and unsustainable structure of Scotland's prosecutor system, with specific regard to the dual function of the Lord Advocate under the Scotland Act 1998, the current arrangement established under section 44(1)(c) and 48(5) of the Scotland Act 1998 assigns the Lord Advocate a dual role as both a Minister of the Scottish Government and Head of the Crown Office and Prosecutor Fiscal Service, COPFS. This structure violates the rule of law, undermines prosecutorial independence, and is constitutionally incompatible with the separation of powers required under UK-wide legal norms. This arrangement is expressly reserved to Westminster under Schedule 5, Part 1 of the Scotland Act, which includes the Constitution, including the Lord Advocate, as a law officer of the Crown with the exclusive competence of the UK Parliament. Therefore, any correction to this breach of constitutional integrity falls squarely within your government's remit. And this goes on in depth because we had a lot of people through our organisation doing a lot of research about this, and it was signed for on the 4th of June to these various parties, and it's been going on for years and years. Roger Livermore has been very proactive in Scotland in trying to get these people held to account, and highlighted it in the mainstream media about the role of that Lord Advocate. Dorothy Bain, and Ruth Charis, our sidekick. And Nicola Sturgeon was involved in the sisterhood, what was operating, and it goes into historical matters, and, we've done a lot of work in bringing this, and it's been debated. Kenny McCaskill and Joanne Cherry, Casey, They brought it up in 2020. It's in the Hansard. And the links are all on there. We'll put the link through. It's on our website, Arm Scotland. And we'll send you the link so that you can read it. You know, and we'll put that up. But it's quite an interesting read. This isn't new. This isn't new. You know, and now you get the lip service puppets talking about it. There's the debate in the Scottish Parliament. I think he got suspended for a day because I don't know if it was related to this Lord Advocate thing that he exposed, but he got suspended. That Tory leader. And there's all the comments there. There's been 231 comments, but this isn't new, you know. And of course, SWINNEY, you know, he's backing up that she done nothing wrong, you know. But let me tell you where this will go. And what will happen is that it was disclosed to the SNP by Bain in March 2025. You'll get the devil's advocates who's defending Murrell, and who'll say, well, you know, he's had a breach of Article 6 of the Human Rights Act. He didn't get a fair trial. The Scottish Government was briefed prior to, you know, and he had a disadvantage and all that. And he'll walk. Maybe that role he had, or that Lord Advocate will be dissolved, you know, and basically that'll be it in the bag. And they'll take the hit for that. They'll take the hit because they know it's coming. You know, so they'll say, you know, this is all premeditated and in the bag. And the acting, you know, and the lawyers will put it back to, his counsel will put it back to, he never got a fair trial and all that, you know. Sturgeon done a runner. She was allowed to, after she's destroyed this country, you know, the Scottish No Party, you know, and we've been subjected to horrible things with these people, you know. And just remember, you know, people have been campaigning for years to get rid of that Lord Advocate's role, and it's affected people in everyday trials. The judiciary are compromised, and basically the judiciary in Scotland are just, you know, they're being led by this, you know, they're going about a separation of powers. That's just a ruse. It's a ruse. You know, they're being led by SWINNEY and Bain, you know. And, you know, there used to be decent lords and judges and the, you know, court session and things like that. I was involved in a case with Lord Osborne, you know, and he retired in 2011 and he got out and he was actually a gentleman. He was decent to people and, you know, he just got out in 2011. But before that, him and Lord Hamilton had concerns about how these judges were being appointed in Scotland and things. And the SNP only came into power in 2007. In 2008, Lord Osborne and Lord Hamilton had, you know, a Home Affairs correspondent reported on top judges attack blinkered judicial appointment system. And I'll link this article as well. Just how people were getting into these positions, and they were just, and interestingly, that was just a year after these characters on the 11th of March came into power, you know. And it goes on about the judicial complaint system and everything. These guys were decent guys trying to get some sort of integrity and accountability in a system that's went really, really haywire, you know, and just look at the role of that Lord Advocate and what she's done. And honestly, Murrell will walk with this, you know. And, you know, Roger Livermore, he was promoting it through his, he's went into great depth about it, in the law, in this section of his article, that was done in July 2025. He's been, campaigning through his Action for Safe and Accountable People, NHS, you know, criminal complaint against SNP Government Minister Lord Advocate Bain, acting as head of the Scottish Government Prosecution Service, including cover-up of hundreds of unlawful deaths of babies in Scottish maternity service. There's horrible things happening in Scotland, and these people know. These people know what's going on. The cover-ups is disgusting. The judiciary's compromised, you know. And Roger goes into a lot of it. I'll get that article linked up as well about the roles that have been operational for very, very many years. And I do believe that this is going to become the termination of the roles, but Murrell will walk. But people who've been hauled up in front of courts and everything, compromised by the Crown Office, you know, conflict of interest rules with that Lord Advocate, I'll get nothing, no recognition of what they've been put through. And, you know, it doesn't matter because it's just Joe Bloggs in the street, eh? You know, and on a finishing note, I just have to say, and please excuse my voice because I'm quite choked up with a cold. This great judge here, a decent guy, and we've put him on our website, you know, yeah, a man of honour as well. It's down south, but a decent guy. But a complaint was put in about him, and it's Judge Jonathan Durham Hall, and this goes back to 2016-17. And he was reported to judicial complaints. The last was raped by some guy, and she admitted attacking this guy who had sexually assaulted her when she was young. And she was given a 2-year youth rehabilitation order, and the judge says he would pay a victim surcharge for the girl if one was imposed on her. And of course you'll get the legal wigs and legal eagles jumping on the judge, because listen, these judges are very, very controlled, what they have to say, because you get these, well, legends in their own mind, solicitors or lawyers thinking that, you know, we'll report them and there's a point of appeal there and blah blah blah. They have to be very controlled what they say. And that guy done a decent thing in the eyes of many, because we've put him on our website as a man of honour. And he was reported to the judicial complaints, and he got formal advice. He got out 3 years later, he retired because he was probably disgusted. I worked in the Scottish Arts Club when I was young. This is where these judges socialise. It's in Edinburgh, Rutland Square. I don't know if it's still there. But, you know, you used to hear some of the conversations and things, and a lot of them were quite concerned that it was a long time ago, over 40 years ago, what was going on and how their hands are tied. You know, because you heard it in social, um, um, you know, arenas, what they were chatting about, you know, in these clubs and things. And they were concerned about some stuff and how their hands were tied, you know. But, and then I put another link to that girl who stabbed abuser, spared jail at 15. And, you know, people, sadly, just watch his space. You'll see that theatre coming up for Murrell, and he will walk. He'll walk based on what these SNP and the corrupt system they operate, and that Lord Advocate, Dorothy Bain, will, you know, be the icing on the cake for him, you know. Anyway, I'll leave it there.